And side by side, y'all can see it's close to double the length. Probably not perfect, but close. Good morning, everybody. I wanted to do a quick review on these wrenches right here. And I figured there was no better review than to actually use them in a tight spot here that I'm working in them. This is a pretty neat little wrench. I've owned it for a while. It's a double box ratcheting flex head on both sides. It's got two separate sides, and but we're going to talk about it, and I'm going to show you right here in this little tight spot that I'm in. I can look up inside here. Y'all gonna have to excuse me for the shaking around. This is an adjustment bolt on this ride more, and there's very little room. You can't really get a wrench anywhere in there, and a long socket wouldn't be able to hit both of them, you know, because then you'd be hitting this one at the same time. So you got to have a wrench. And this little ratchet is pretty handy. Some kind of stubby ratchet, but what's neat about this one is I can get it really super short right there. I can actually ratchet just like that. I'm actually loosening it right now, I think. Yeah, I need to be tightening it. But I can ratchet it in any position that I want. I can conform it around this tire if I need, you know, because sometimes you need a little bit more leverage. You can fit it just like that to get it as long as you can, you know, because if it was stuck like that, then I wouldn't have as much leverage. But I can just get it however I need to, which is not always exactly what you want. Bring that up right where I need it. And I could do this with another little wrench, you know. There we go, nice and tight. But this is pretty handy. So this ride more, it lost its adjustment right here. Let me see if I can. Oh yeah, that's pretty much perfect right there. Pretty much just what we want. So now we're going to tighten that back up. All right, get that back on right there. So this little ratchet that I've had, I wanted to take a while before I gave a review on it. So it is a, I believe it's Taiwanese made. I don't remember exactly. It's not made here in America. It's not the most quality that I've seen. I'll tell you that right off the bat. But they're very affordable. The price that they're asking for these is very reasonable. They work really well. Like I said, they're not like the most quality, but I have not gotten any, I haven't had any issues out of them. Now, to be fair, I want to be fair with this. This is a metric tool, and I use standard quite a bit. So one of the reasons I haven't made a full review on this yet is because I just didn't have the standard set yet. I would love for the company to send me the standard set so that I can actually, because I use standard out when I'm doing shutdown jobs, and those are tougher environments, and I think that the tool would do well out there. And so I would really like to get that standard so that I can actually take it out there on that tough environment. Now, that being said, I am using the metric here. I'm using it some on different cars and stuff. There we go, got that nice and tight, put a good little bind on it. But you can see where we're at. I mean, it'd be hard to get anything else in there. If I had a longer wrench, it wouldn't, you know, I would get it for sure. I mean, there's enough room here, I would get it, but it would just be a little bit aggravating. And it's set just far enough back. In fact, why don't we try that? Let's get a long wrench and try it. All right, guys. Like I said, bear with me because I'm having to do this by myself. Okay, so if I had to use the open end wrench, I could absolutely do it like that. But there's not just like a huge, and I'm not trying to pull the wool over y'all's eyes. I could do this. We already know that I could, but I wouldn't have as much swing there. And then if I wanted to use my ratchet in, I would have to have a flex head ratchet. That's the first thing. So that would work there, but there's not a lot of swing. So I would get it because it is a ratcheting wrench, okay? If it was a flex head, then I could get it, but even still, I would have to be bent like this and curling it like this. So yes, it would absolutely get it, even being that long flex head ratchet. But this one right here, because I can fold it in whatever position I want, like I said, I can even put that head over like that and use it as like a finger ratchet. That gives me the ability that I've got a little bit more leverage like this, and if I want a little bit more room and I can really get in there, that's kind of giving me all of that range of motion. And you know, I could also, I hadn't actually tried this, but I could also turn it in this direction as well. So I could get it from whichever way I wanted to. Like I said, guys, I'm not trying to pull the wool over anybody's eyes. I can do that with other wrenches. There are other wrenches that I can do it with, ratcheting wrenches and things like that. This is not definitely not going to be a wrench that you're going to put a lot of pressure on. So let's look at how tight it is right here, okay? So when I take this, actually I tell you what, I'm going to put you on the tripod. Alright, so y'all bear with me here. I got y'all on the back of this riding mower, swinging a little bit. I want to look at this. So if I compare this to a regular flex head ratchet, there's a little movement, okay? There's a little bit of movement there. And it is, to be fair, like this one right here, this one's fine. But this one's a little bit more than I would like it, okay? Now, to be fair, when I check it out, so the best way to do it is just to grab it and feel it right there, okay? You can put a washer in there and you can tighten that up. One of the things that I really like about this product is the fact that it actually has a place to tighten this up. Okay, so you could absolutely put some type of a plastic grommet or a washer or something like that, some kind of spacer in there to tighten that up some. So it's not the tightest, but at the same time, this product is not going, you're not going to be breaking stuff. You shouldn't be breaking something with this right here. You should use a regular wrench to break something. You definitely shouldn't be breaking anything with this. Now, another thing that I'm going to look at is the tension here, like how tight this is, how much space there is, because I see some of the cheaper ones, they'll have a little bit more movement in here than I like. So I want to compare it to this Craftsman. Now, this is not an old school American-made Craftsman. This is a Taiwanese Craftsman. And when I compare the movement on this one, I would say the Craftsman is slightly tighter, but I wouldn't say it was like a lot tighter. To be fair to this Craftsman, I've owned this Craftsman for a long time. This one right here. This one on this other side, I would say that is as tight as the Craftsman. So let's pull out a couple more and try them out. The 13 millimeter is the one I've tried the most. Pull this one out. Seems to be about the same. What about the side-to-side movement? It's about the same. There's definitely movement. That one's, yeah, that one's about the same for sure. So yeah, guys, there's movement in here. It's probably more movement than what I would like to see, like I said. But it's not bad. Now, as far as, like, a lot of people talk about, you know, your chrome and how nice it looks and things like that, and that's what they'll put in their reviews, which I think that, you know, like if you're looking at a more quality wrench, a wrench that you've spent more money on, like an Icon or Craftsman or something, you should be looking at how well that chrome is. But to be fair, once a tool starts to get used, it's going to get scratched up and pitted up some, you know. So this one right here is not the best chrome at all. We can see some pitting right there. things like that. But for the price, for what you're paying to get these, it's very affordable. You can buy these on Amazon. Like I said, I will leave a link that y'all can get these. I didn't want to just tell y'all to buy these. That's why I didn't put the product up right at first. But now that I've owned the tool for a while, I do like them. They have their place. They're not, they're not you're not going to use these every day. This is not a tool you're going to use every day. And with the wobbly, with the shake that's in there, I don't honestly think that that's a problem. Now, time will tell, but I really don't think that that is a problem, because this is a tool. I mean, you're not putting a lot of leverage. When you take that right there, you're not putting a lot of leverage. This is its longest position. You're really not putting that to a lot of leverage. This in here. When I'm looking, this is a standard Craftsman wrench. This one is the American made, but it's the same length as some of the other standard Craftsmans. Okay, so if I compare it to that standard length, this is a 13 millimeter and that's a 13 millimeter. And side by side, y'all can see it's close to double the length. Probably not perfect, but close to twice the length. And if I shorten it up, I can, like I said, I've got options there. That's its shortest position. I mean, it's almost as short as that little part right there. I mean, it's nothing in comparison, okay? But that's how much leverage you're going to get if you ever put any more leverage. I would not suggest ever doing anything that would give you more leverage than that right there. It was not built for that. Now I went ahead and grabbed one of these overdrive wrenches, because you can see that they're a little bit longer. These are the Craftsman overdrive. I'm grabbing this one because a lot of people know kind of how big these are. If I do a size comparison to that, this is more than twice the length right there. So that kind of gives you a good size comparison. These two are the same, pretty close to the same length right here. That's why I kind of grabbed that. But more people know about this one than they do this one right here. Okay guys, so my honest opinion on this tool right here, I like the tool. I really do. I can't say, like I said, it's not the most quality tool, but for what it is plenty quality enough for everything you're going to do. And I honestly believe that it would last you a lifetime, as long as you did not abuse this tool and you used it for what it was supposed to be used for. I honestly believe that this tool, there's no reason in my mind why this wouldn't last you your whole life. And you could pick up, a lot of guys would be just fine with just this metric set and never need that standard set. But it's affordable enough, you could have both sets and you'd be doing really good. There'd be no reason you couldn't. Now I wanted to go ahead and compare one last comparison. This is a flex head stubby ratchet wrench right here. It is slightly shorter than that one. The reason I grabbed this stubby flex head wrench is because this one is a little bit shorter than some of your stubby wrenches. So this one's actually shorter than the Icon, and it's shorter than some of the other ones. So this one's already a little bit more of a stubby ratcheting wrench, and this wrench right here is actually even more stubby than that if you do a size comparison. Both of these are 13 millimeter. Of course, this is a 13 and a 12, but you get the point that when you look at your length, you're actually getting about, even if in its fully extended version, you're getting a very stubby wrench. And then when you fold it all the way up, there are no other stubby wrenches that I know of that's this stubby. This is as stubby as you get. Now, of course, you don't get this end on it, which sometimes is handy, and you don't get, of course, when you add that flexibility, flexibility takes away some of your tension, like even with this one, you get it in there in a spot and it kind of, it might want to fold in instead of prying down, but that's just what you get when you have a flex head. As far as tension this way, it feels like enough. It could be slightly tighter this way, but like I said, you can add that grommet in there, and they do put that screw in there. So to me, these are a win. I really like these. I would love it if they would send me that standard set so I could try that out. But guys, I just, honestly, after giving it some thought, I've owned them for a couple months. I've used them in a few places. I always end up grabbing them when it's a tight spot, and they're just handy to have. So for most mechanics and stuff, this is all you're going to need. You don't even need that standard set. But hey, this is a good price. It's a good tool. I think it's worth grabbing. Check out the link if you're interested, guys. Thank you.